I'm going to share 3 things that will help you have a wonderful school year, help you and your kids have a great school year. The first is setting an intention. This is really important, right? Because when we set an intention, we are creating an environment for what we want. And oftentimes we could have just roll into the school year without thinking much about it. But I believe when you take out time to think through your school year and think through what you would like to see this school year. For some of you, it's like, okay, I would just love to have a school year where his teacher isn't calling all the time complaining about XYZ behavior. It may be, oh, I would love to have a school year where my kid, really has a wonderful time enjoying school, right? And is not worried about one thing or the other. Maybe for others, it might be, I would love to be able to have a school year where my kid really does well academically this school year, right? That we're not struggling. Whatever that intention is, if you don't set that intention, it's difficult to actually come up with a game plan to bring it to come to pass, all right? So it's really important that we start there in the first place, thinking through what we want to happen as we begin the school year. Number 2 is to set a plan. You have to set a plan. Now you've set an intention for what you want to happen. Now you have to set a plan for how we are going to make that happen. The things we're going to put in place to have a good, healthy school year. There are a couple of things I'm going to talk about. One is the plan doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be a plan that gets you started. And then you can always tweak it along the way, fine-tune it along the way, maybe even change it, right? There are a couple of things that I believe are good to set up a plan for. Logistics. That's one that we all kind of already do, right? Because it's things like, are they going to ride a school bus, or do I have to drive them to school? Who's going to pick them up? Do we have to make plans for before care or after care? Those are things that we already typically do, right? I mean, you have to have a plan for your kid getting to school, right? But there are a couple of others also that maybe we kind of do, but don't necessarily set a plan for it. And I want to kind of challenge you to set a plan for these as well. So the other is going to be, a plan to support your child's health. How am I going to support my child's health? I'm optimally prepared and primed for the school year. Maybe that's going to be, what's my plan for sleep? Your kids need to sleep for at least 8 to 9 hours every night to have their brains fully rested. And actually, for our younger kids who are in early grade school, 10 hours will be optimum, right? I know that's not always possible, but that's the goal. And so setting a plan for it and a goal to that to happen helps you arrange your day in such a way that you're better able to hit it. Every kid is going to have a different wake time depending on your morning routine and how much time is needed to get them ready and out the door. It's going to be different for everyone. So if you know what time you need to wake up in the morning to get them ready, I would just back it up from there to find out what time they really need to be sleeping to get a full 8 to 9 hours of sleep, maybe even 10 hours, right? And for some of our kids, maybe you need support for it. If your kid is really having a difficult time, some suggestions might be looking into something like magnesium, right? That can be very helpful for a lot of kids. It's a natural supplement. You can talk to your pediatrician to get dosing recommendations for your child. Now, I know some parents use melatonin. There's some concern about using melatonin long-term in our kids because it hasn't been studied extensively in the general pediatric population. Some mouse studies, years ago showed that there was some effect on fertility. And so again, that's something we kind of want to be careful about if you just are in the habit of doing melatonin night in, night out. That's something you should speak to your pediatrician about and kind of talk through the pros and cons of doing that, okay? If you're having an issue with sleep with your child, do not do this alone, right? Reach out to your pediatrician or your provider so they can schedule time to sit down with you and walk through your options, okay? The other is nutrition, right? And that's a really basic thing, but so important because our kids' brains need fuel to be able to function optimally. And so you want to think through what's the plan for making sure that they have good nutrition, right? Because again, if your kid is like mine, if you leave them alone, they'll eat all the things that are not good for them for the most part, right? It's going to be all the unhealthy foods. So what's the plan to make sure that they're eating health they're having a healthy diet? I mean, some of that plan may just be providing more healthier food options at home. So maybe we don't buy as much chips, or maybe we don't buy the soda and the juices and bring those into the home, so that they are able to have healthier snacks, have healthier beverages, right? So, but if you don't think through it, then it's something that may not happen. You want to make sure they're getting lots of fruits and veggies, you're eating less carbs, more proteins, right? All these things support optimal health. And if your kid is already struggling with their nutrition, maybe thinking about supplements, right? Getting a good multivitamin in there, getting a DHA, a fish oil supplement, because that can support brain health, and those things can really set your child up to have a great year academically as well. And the next big one is mental health. Right? We want to make sure that we are paying attention to our kids' mental health. This is such a big issue. And as a pediatrician, of course, there's just a mental health crisis with our kids and amongst our youth, which just got worse during the COVID season, and I don't think we've really recovered since then. And so it's really important that as a parent or a caregiver, that you're thinking through, how do I support my child's mental health? And that may be, for instance, taking out time to check in with them, right? Check in with them frequently, especially when school gets started, right? After the first day, after the second day, after a week, a couple of weeks, how are you doing? What's going on? Do you have any concerns? What's on your mind? And when we ask, that we're really taking our time to listen to what you're saying, right? We're not jumping to offer advice and jumping into, just give them a game plan, but we're taking our time, first of all, to hear them out, to have them bring it all out, to talk, and that we're validating their feelings, right? We're not dismissing them. It's their own experience. If they're anxious, right? My kid was going to a new school, and he was anxious about going to a new school on first day, and and I just gave him time to talk about it. And I didn't say, oh, that's fine, you'll be okay. That came later. But first of all, I had to go through, well, completely normal that you're feeling that way. It's a new school, you don't know the people, you're worried. I will be a little anxious also, so that's really understandable, right? And then we started to walk through some of what he could do to have a better experience with those feelings. So it's really important that you're taking out time to check in with your kids, that you're validating their feelings and their experiences, and that you're seeking out care if you do need it, right? So whether that's therapy or speaking to their pediatrician, getting some advice on what to do if they're really struggling, that we're not waiting for this to go on too long before we address it, right? And then if they have any medical issues, that we're addressing those also, right? A lot of times this is something we typically will also take care of as parents. If your kid has asthma and he needs an inhaler to be in school, you typically already know that, and you're already making sure you have those prescriptions in. And most schools, if not all schools, will need a doctor's order to be able to have them give the medication at school, or have your child take it if he's able or she's able to take it on their own, right? So that's really important that you take care of those if you haven't. If your kid has life-threatening allergies, that you're making sure they have emergency supplies, their EpiPen or whatever else they use at school. All the orders are in and in place. But sometimes there are other health conditions that we don't think through that we might be able to do something about. A very common one is kids who have chronic constipation, right? So if your kid has chronic constipation, chances are they're also having chronic abdominal pain. It always hurts and probably gets worse when they eat. You can also have a game plan set in place as the school year starts for how to address that. Maybe that is going to be something like making sure that you have a note from their pediatrician or provider saying that they should be allowed to have their water bottle, on their desk, and that they're allowed to drink freely, that they're allowed to use the bathroom whenever they need to, so they're not holding it in, and they're able to poop as they need to without having to hold it in, which makes things worse down the road, right? But that's something that if you think through early enough, you're able to set that plan in motion so that things like, chronic constipation and chronic abdominal pain do not become an issue, right? If your kids haven't been to the dentist in a while, they're making that appointment to go to the dentist, because chronic tooth pain is very common amongst our kids, and a lot of them will suffer in silence, and they're not going to say much to you because they're just used to it, right? That's just all they know. But it does affect their ability to concentrate in school and to learn. And so making sure that you're taking care of their oral health as well. So number one was setting an intention for the school year. Number two, which we're talking about right now, is setting a plan in place to support your child's health. The last thing I'm going to talk about when it comes to that is having some sort of plan for ongoing educational support. I don't know about you, but I feel like our school system could do a better job in a lot of schools with educating our kids. And my wife and I have had to do extra things at home to support their learning. And that may be something simple as having worksheets that they can walk through. Maybe going on Khan Academy, right? That's a free resource, Khan Academy, and they're finding their grade level and finding some program that they can work on their academic skills. And if this is something that you've never done and all the learning has always happened in school, I really want to challenge you this school year to venture into that. Now, your kid may not be happy about it. They're probably not going to be think it's all fun, but it's really important. And so you can start small. It can just be having them spend 10-15 minutes doing a worksheet. I would challenge you to eventually get to where they're spending at least 30 minutes or an hour and a half working on some schoolwork. I really want to encourage you that it's really critical and will go a long way to having your child do better academically in school. Some of our kids already do very well, but maybe could do even better if we challenge them a little bit. And that also really prepares them for real life, right? So we've talked about two things, right? We talked about setting an intention, setting a plan in place, and number three is going to be setting up support for your children as they start a new school year, right? And this is really critical because I think that, and this is going to be different for every family and different for every kid, what kind of support they need, right? But it's going to include things like, first of all, touching base with their teachers regularly, right? As a pediatrician, I can't tell you how many times I've had a parent come into the office and say, hey, I need to meet with you to discuss my child's academic performance because we're almost at the end of the school year and a teacher is sitting down with me and telling me that they've been struggling all of the school year. I know there are lots of great teachers. I hear you and I see you, and I really appreciate the work you do. Our teachers for sure don't get recognized enough, for sure, and so I really recognize that. But it is a reality that a lot of families don't get timely feedback about their kids' performance. So I really want to encourage you to be proactive when it comes to that and actually reach out and speak to your child's teacher. A lot of you are going to have like a back to school day. I want to encourage you to go for it. But certainly as school gets started also, that you're touching base with your teachers regularly, and that frequency will depend on your child and their challenges, right? If you have a child who has had historically has struggled, through the years, you want to touch base with your teacher more frequently, right? As the school year starts, so you can see what's going on and intervene if you need to early. If they're doing really well and don't have as much issues, maybe you touch base less frequently. Maybe it's at the end of a marking period and see how they did. But whatever that looks like for you and your child, I want to make sure that you set a plan to communicate with your teachers effectively. If the school has a platform for that, utilize it, right? Because that's really important. Check on their grades, see how they're doing, so that you can also again intervene if you need to and provide support as needed. The other thing also is to seek out community resources, right? A lot of us in our communities, especially here in Washington County, we have great support. We have a number of organizations that provide great support for our kids, right? Like the Girls Inc., right? Girls Inc. is great. It's an after-school program for girls, provides wonderful support and mentorship for them. You have the Boys and Girls Club, wonderful organization. You have Big Brothers, Big Sisters, amazing organization, right? So which shout out if you would love to be a member and be a big brother or a big sister to a little kid. Reach out to the organization. They could always use more mentors, but that's a great organization that you can reach out to and see if you can have someone that can come alongside your daughter or son to support them. Another great resource in virtually all of our communities is a library, where we all have a library in our communities, and that's one of the privileges of being in a country like the US, right? Every community has a library. Something I want to encourage you to do is visit the library with your kid, right? Whatever age they are, there's something in our local libraries for them. Great books that they can read. Some of them have computer resources and programs and all kinds of activities. So I really want to encourage you to check out your local library and see what they have available for your kid that you can take advantage of. Now, last but not least, you want to make sure you have support from your pediatrician or your provider, whoever cares for your kid. You want to make sure that you are taking out time to reach out to them early if you need any assistance, right? If something is coming up in school, reach out to them. It doesn't have to be only medical. It can be something emotional or something to do with their mental health, or just something to do with logistics of figuring out how to best support your child. We are always available to speak to you. I know we're definitely always available at Partners in Pediatrics and Adult Care to discuss your kids' health or wellness, and we'd love to be able to support you in that way. Okay. Think through getting the support even for behavior issues, right? It doesn't matter, right? Whatever affects your kid, as a pediatrician, we can provide guidance. Even if it's not something we're going to address directly, we can direct you to resources and places where we know you will get the support or the help you need, right? And last but not least would be to make sure you get the yearly wellness exam. If you haven't done it, go ahead and call, make an appointment, because it's really important that they have that yearly checkup where we can get to sit with them, see what's going on with them, make sure their vitals are fine, make sure their hearing and vision are okay. I can't tell you how many kids I come up with every day who have poor vision that the parents were not aware of. But think about it though, if your child is having issues with seeing, and most kids don't know, because they don't know what they don't know, right? Unless it's really bad where they're having to squint and go all the way up to the board, they may not know that their vision is not optimal. So it's really important that you're getting those yearly exams done. So I've covered 3 things that I really believe will set you up to having an amazing school year. One we said was to set an intention for your child. What would you like that school year to look like? 2 is going to be setting a plan for that to happen. Set a plan for your kids' health and wellness, their mental health, sleep and nutrition, making sure that you're providing support for their learning. And then thirdly, that you are setting up support out in the community, and that's going to be their pediatrician and community organizations, right? The library, things that you can go to where you can find resources to support your kid to help them have an amazing school year. Those are the 3 things I had to share with you tonight, and I hope you found this useful. Please put in the comments and let me know what resonated with you, what you're going to do more of, and if you have any questions, put them in the comments, because I would love to be able to shout you out and answer those questions and get a game plan going for you. Okay, well, it has been fun. If we haven't met again, I'm Dr. Obidi. I'm pediatrician at Partners in Pediatrics and Adult Care. We have been blessed to be named Best Pediatric Office 2 years in a row by the Best of the Tri-State campaign, and also Best Family Practice and the Hagerstown Hot List 2026. All that is because you guys mean a lot to us, and we do a lot here at the practice to make sure that we're providing amazing support for you. If you need any help, support, call us 301-791-7060. We would love to be able to support you and help you and your child have a healthier, more successful school year. All right, bye for now.